slight grin. Picks apart a case where the truth's been thin. Sharp tongue firing like a rebel's hell. Justice served with a snarky spin. Nick's got the mic and is breaking it down. Lego chaos spinning all around. Laughing at the lies at the courts of crown. Riding the edge where truth is found. Coffee's cold but the witch stays hot. Poking at the holes in the legal plot. With a tilt of the glass he connects the dots. The courtroom's wild and he calls the shots. Nick's got the mic and is breaking it down. Lego chaos spinning all around. Laughing at the lies at the courts of crown. Riding the edge where truth is found. Electric strums echo through the air. Justice tangled in a legal snare. With a grin, he tears it bare. No nonsense talk for those who care.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Hey, hello. Yeah, sorry for the delay. Something happened in the fuse box, and now I'm running on generator power. It's getting handled. I have roughly 6 hours worth of diesel going out in the barn. Enough to run the show. So no worries about that. And by the time the stream is done, I should have had a guy over checking the fuse box and get everything in order. So no worries. Yeah. Oh, welcome, folks. Welcome here at YouTube. Welcome you guys at Rumble, and welcome you guys at X. Welcome to part 2 of Turtleboy winning. Oh, what's that on your shirt? Oh, for you who follow the YSL trial, the 2 years I covered that trial, you know exactly what this means. Because Fulton County, Atlanta, had the YSL trial, the Young Thug Rico trial, which was prosecuted by Prosecutor Love. Hence, I went to Atlanta, and Love didn't catch me. So, yeah, that's the thing. All right, we are here for part 2. Let's see here. There's going to be somebody, a couple of cops, and then the headliner, the victim. Oh, poor victim. I'm sure she will be. I'm sure she will be credible, and I will not use curse words at all. So yeah, today will be very, very amusing. We will go roughly 2 hours, and then I will save the final part with the verdict and stuff for Friday, because who doesn't want to celebrate the finale without spoilers with a glass of something of your choice? But you are here for this, and maybe a little bit of my snark. So let's go.
Did you review the restraining?
Hello, all people. And the next witness.
Raise your right
which
hand.
we-
Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Mr. Nethercott,
Who are you?
good morning. Would you introduce yourself to the court, please?
My name's Thomas Nethercott. I'm the GIS manager for the town of Denver.
And what is a GIS manager? What does a GIS manager do?
I manage the database that contains all the town's utilities and features, road center lines, anything that exists within the town's maps, and I manage that.
How long have you held that position since?
I've been with them for almost 3 years this fall.
And were you employed before you?
Okay.
I was prior to this, I was for 2 other municipalities, Wellesley, Massachusetts, and Gorham, Maine.
So he's here to introduce some
And
evidence.
can you tell us a little bit about your educational background, please?
Yeah, I went to the University of New Hampshire for geography with a focus in geotechniques, which was essentially GIS work.
And GIS work means what?
I'm sorry, geographic information systems. A lot of my projects were based on mapping municipal routes for buses or parcel work. It all has to do with planning and reference data relevant to the town.
All right. At some point, were you contacted by a Dedham police officer and asked if you could prepare a diagram?
Yes, it was.
And can you tell us what the request was for?
I was asked to show a buffer around 300-foot, 100-yard buffer around the Registry of Deed steps.
Registry of Deed steps. And how did you go about it? Did you do that?
I did.
And how did you go about it?
Using our aerial imagery, which is taken by airplane, I navigated to the Registry of Deeds building. From there, I visually created a point in the center of the steps and used the software that we use. I used their tool to create a buffer where you set the distance, set that for 100 yards, and that created it. From there, I added labels and created the layout.
Oh,
title.
Oh,
So
it was only 9. What
said you used an
what
aerial
are you going to
photograph,
show? It was only 98
Or
yards. Or 98 feet.
We have a
Oh,
subscription with
Jesus.
near map imagery, which
This is pure
which
desperation.
they provide aerial imagery to many municipalities in the Northeast. It provides 8-inch accuracy imagery conducted by NACO.
And how long has the time been?
Objection, Your Honor, motion to strike. No foundation as to this other company and their accuracy.
Can you get rid of that? All right. Show you now this document and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize it to be?
That's the map I made.
And what does it show?
It shows a 300-foot buffer, the red circle, around the Registry of Deed steps, which is the star.
Can you agree with me that a 300-foot radius is the same as a 100-yard radius?
Yes.
It's about the extent. How often?
Objection, Your Honor.
Is it 11?
I have no further questions.
Just briefly, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. So you went online and accessed a company that has aerial photographs?
Yes, we have a subscription, so we have access to the database connection through them. And they provide us with
And you printed out the registry Superior Court area, correct?
Correct.
Did you do anything else with respect to this?
created the labels for the streets, and like I said, the title and items like that.
So it's fair to say that you created kind of a as the crow flies map with respect to the distances, right?
Correct, it's to scale, sure.
But people don't walk and move as the crow flies, do they?
Objection.
So did you go into the Norfolk Superior Court and measure the distance that one would have to walk down the stairs, around the corner, outside, down the steps, over the registry, up the steps in any way?
No.
Did you use any kind of measuring wheel to do something like that? To get kind of a real life walking distance?
No.
Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. The witness be excused.
You can be excused.
If I could just have a moment. What's the power? Power. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Brian Crump, please.
Officer Crump.
Out front.
Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please.
Good morning. Would you introduce yourself, if you would?
Sure. Officer Brian Crump from the Denham Police. I've been a police officer for 26 years in this town.
And during those 26 years, did you have occasion to be on duty on February 26th of 2020?
Yes.
And what was your assignment?
My assignment that day was to cross people in the crosswalk between the Registry of Deeds and Superior Court.
Was there anything in particular going on in the area?
Yeah, there was, I believe the Kearney matter was going on in the Superior Court.
What was the traffic like when you were doing your video?
Pedestrian or motor vehicle?
Well, let's start with pedestrian.
Heavy.
The demonstrators?
Just, I wouldn't call them demonstrators, they're just people, yeah. A lot of people.
A lot of people? Was there a lot of noise?
Moderate, it would go up and down depending on people honking as well.
Now, at some point that day, did you encounter the gentleman who you either knew or came to know as Aidan?
I did.
And did you know him or know of him previously, or was this your first time?
Just vaguely, I don't think I ever met him personally, but just from people talking about him.
And how did you happen to encounter him on this particular day?
I was waiting to cross a bunch of pedestrians across High Street, and I believe he was in a group of people waiting to cross. And I stopped traffic, and he crossed.
And did you have any conversation with him?
Well, yeah, I had a brief conversation. He engaged me.
And to the best of your recollection, what did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
It's been a while. He did say he brought my attention to a restraining, someone that had a restraining order, and he just left. And I think I responded, I don't know who you're talking about or where they are. He told me they were in Superior Court. And as we walked, I think I motioned for him to, like, he was kind of going in the direction.
Oh, this is the guy. Does he know he was being
That
recorded?
way. We'll figure it out. But he was walking away at that point, and my attention now was focused on getting the cars moving.
Did you have any further conversation with him after that?
After that encounter in the crosswalk?
Right.
No.
You didn't seek him out?
No.
He didn't seek you out?
No.
Did you sort of keep an eye on him after he cut it off, or did you lose sight of him?
He was kind of going in the direction away toward Main Street with you have people around him going with him. So after when I came back to the cross, started the traffic, I didn't see him.
Your attention was to the traffic at that point?
Yeah, people wanted to get moving, they were irritated, so trying to make everyone happy.
All right. Did you have occasion to view a video of your conversation with him?
Yes.
And did the video you viewed correspond with your memory? Did it fairly and accurately reflect your conversation with him?
Yeah, I watched it over a year ago, and then my sergeant prosecutor had me come in and view it briefly at the station, I think upon your request.
All right. I'd like to play the video at this point.
No objection, man.
6, please.
Sir, I just want this on record. So I was 1 second away from the training order behind you guys. I'll go into this position. I don't know where she is. She's inside the room. That's good. Thank you very much.
So they didn't play the entirety of
Now, at the
it?
time you had the conversation with
Oh,
Mr. Kearney,
that's foul game, Mr. Prosecutor, if that is the only part you actually played. And it opens up to show the entirety. And I believe they said this in the opening statement, the defense opening statement. We are going to show this video to you and then slow down so you actually hear what's being said. It's such an own, yeah. And they say, hi, Andy. It's an own goal. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is bad.
were you aware that he was recording the conversation?
He had his phone up, I assumed he was. I assumed he was.
So he was.
I mean, I wasn't sure, but I just assumed he was.
All right. He didn't tell you he was recording the conversation.
I don't believe so.
But he did say, I want this on record.
Yeah, so he said.
Take it of a moment, Your Honor. At this point, I'd offer the recording of the conversation and evidence.
Okay.
Attorney Bradle, any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 12, thank you.
Your witness, Mr. Briggs.
Exhibit C, you brought in here?
Sorry.
It's okay, thank you.
May I inquire? Officer Crawford, morning, sir. Morning. So you were in the crosswalk on 226 at approximately 2:10 p.m. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
You were
Yeah, this
approached by
is
Mr.
going to be
Carney,
good.
right?
Correct.
He expressed to you an
This is
interest in
going to
documenting his situation. And you were just about to find out what that was, right?
Right.
And he had his phone out in an obvious kind of recording position, right?
Yes.
And you were, fair to say, you were trying to deal with Mr. Carney, but also you had traffic duties and there was people all around, right?
Correct.
But it's fair to say that the courthouse hadn't yet started to empty out, right?
I just believe he came out, or a few people came out.
Right. It wasn't a huge crowd yet that came out, right?
No.
And so he approaches you, and we saw in the video
Yep.
that he told you that there was someone inside that had a restraining order, and that he was desirous of wanting to know what he should do, right?
Correct.
And it's a little bit hard to say, just to hear, But right when Mr. Carney's talking, you can kind of get the little snippet of you saying, go over there, right?
Yeah, I think I was motioning to the area he was kind of going towards.
Sure. And
Officer, I just want this on record. There's a woman inside the court that has a restraining order of me for 100 yards. Okay. If I go over here, is that
100
sufficient?
yards.
I don't know where she is or who she is. but
She's
just go over
inside
there
the
for now.
court. That's sufficient. Thank you very much. Okay.
and what you meant by that was to go up there by the registry building, right?
At least, yeah, he was making distance, and I felt like he was making a good faith attempt to not get in trouble.
Sure. And
Motion to strike.
I'm going to go over here, so we're at least 100 yards away.
so it's fair to say that his behavior and actions and statements didn't give you any suspicion that there was any violation occurring. Is that a fair statement?
I kind of asked, or I didn't know where this person was. I don't think he even said her name, but he said in the courtroom. And I believe at that time it was Superior Court in the main courtroom toward the back. And he was heading away toward Ames Street, so I figured that was sufficient at that time.
Sure. So to your knowledge, does he go where you gesture?
He was heading that way, and yeah, I didn't see him right on the sidewalk, so because I was kind of focused on people waiting across.
You're busy. It's not quite a
So
time.
he
when you
followed
gotta
your
look at it.
direction.
Lay down some notes from Mr. Carney, right?
That's right.
And Mr. Carney went up to the direction you gestured and was waiting there for you as far as you knew
Waiting for me.
to make a further report.
I don't know
If you know,
about
if
that.
you
Yeah,
did.
I didn't take it like that. I think he was just kind of making some distance
Sure.
to not violate the order.
It's
I'm going to go over here, so we're at least 100 yards away.
fair to say that he didn't say anything about that, but you're not privy to what his thoughts and intent is, right?
True.
So it's fair to say that a couple minutes later, many, many people come out of the courthouse.
I'm not sure. I don't think I was there when that happened, when the large group came.
How long were you there?
There was a few of us assigned there. We were rotating, so I don't know how much longer after that I was there. But we were taking turns on 3 different posts in the area.
Sure, okay. Can you recall whether or not the hearing ended a little bit earlier than expected, perhaps?
I can't.
Do you know if you were still directing traffic when a large group of people came out of the courthouse? Rather?
I can't be positive if I was out there when court ended. I'm not sure.
At some point, did anyone that came out of the courtroom in the courthouse when you were there approach you or try to talk to you about any sort of a restraining order violation?
No.
Did you observe anyone complaining to any other officers about a restraining order violation at the time?
No.
What's the protocol if you're present at a scene and someone reports a domestic situation such as a restraining order violation and the perpetrator is on the scene? What do you have to do?
I would say you first call dispatch and make sure the order's in effect.
I'm sorry.
I would say just verify the order's in effect and who the defendant is and who the plaintiff is and what the conditions are.
And if there's a violation, do you have to take any action?
If it's right in front of you,
And what's the action?
you mandated arrest.
And did that happen? No!
Everyone-
Shocker!
Nothing further. Thank you.
Short and concise cross-examination. Excellent. Aidan followed the direction of this officer.
Another witness happened to be here.
Matthew Kozak.
Matthew Kozak?
Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Oh, another officer.
Would you introduce yourself to the court, please?
Yes, Officer Kozak, Denham Police.
Officer, if you could.
Oh, sorry. Officer Kozak, Denham Police.
And spell your last name, please.
Kozak.
All right. How long have you worked for the Denver Police Department?
Roughly 10 years.
And is that your first job in law enforcement, or did you have previous employment in any?
Previous employment,
And where did you work before you came to Denver?
the Federal Reserve Police.
And how long were you with that?
Almost 2 years.
So if I could turn your attention to February 26th of 2024, were you on duty that day?
I was.
And what was your duty, if you recall?
Yes, I was the Providence Highway car that day.
And at some point during the day, were you dispatched them?
I was, yes.
And what was the nature of the dispatch?
Dispatch informed me that Lindsay Kearney was at her vehicle in the back of the Registry of Deeds and that she wanted to report her car had been damaged, something along those lines.
All right. And at the time you received that dispatch, how far away?
One thing that hasn't been brought up yet. I mean, this is outside of court. There should be cameras everywhere, including parking lot everywhere. Why haven't we seen? Maybe it comes later in the proceeding, but I would assume that they would lead with that. Look at him! There he is! There he walks! There he's walking down the street singing fuck off. I don't know.
What would you say from the locale of the registry of deeds?
Well, at that point in time, I was on another call. I had a citizen in my cruiser. So by the time I got that gentleman out, explained to him I couldn't give him a ride home. And then I don't know how long. I was told the call was pending. I don't know how long it was pending before I was told by dispatch to go down there.
So from the point that dispatch tells you to go down there, I take it you do go down.
I do go down this.
And how long did it take you to get there, would you say?
From Providence Highway to back of the Registry of Deeds, on a normal day, a couple minutes. I just don't recall how much the traffic was in the square.
Wow. So you arrive at the registry of deeds and you proceed to the parking lot at that point?
Yes.
And when you get there, do you make any observations?
Yes, I see a group of people standing around a vehicle that was clearly damaged at some point.
All right. And did you speak to anybody?
I spoke to Lindsay and then another person that was there briefly.
And to the best of your recollection, what did you say to Lindsay and what did Lindsay say to you?
Really, I was there. What I thought was the cameras to her vehicle. So I explained to her that I would canvass the area for cameras because no one there was an eyewitness to the crime. So that's really the only thing I could do as far as trying to find someone who went back there and damaged the vehicle.
Was there any conversation about a protective order?
Yes, Lindsay did inform me on scene that she had a restraining order against Aidan Carney, yes.
And did you ask her why she was mentioning that?
I don't recall asking. I did not look at. Sorry.
You did listen to the question and answer it, just wait for the next one?
Yes, Your Honor.
In your own mind, did you draw an inference as to why she might be mentioned?
No. I'm sorry. I thought it would.
Go ahead. You have more.
Yes, because there was some speculation that maybe he had done the damage to her vehicle. So I just related the two, that she is someone who has a restraining order. He may want to target her.
All right. So you didn't ask her about it. Did she explain to you at that point why she was mentioning the protective order?
I don't recall.
In terms of the vehicle, did you do anything to document the damage?
Yes, I took photos of the vehicle.
And how many photos did you take? Do you recall?
I believe it was 3.
What? Wait a minute here. This is something really strange. You see a damaged taillight and you immediately take photos of it. Well, he can't be a cop there. We saw that in the Kearney trial. We saw that. We saw that clearly. Once you see a damaged taillight, you should not take pictures of it. You should wait until much, much, much later. Then maybe you will take pictures. Isn't that proper protocol? Where's Bukaki? Oh yeah, he's rehomed to desk duty.
Been handing 3 photos, officer.
There's a lot
Let's go
of
through them one by one.
cop in Massachusetts now. Massachusetts State Police
identify
that has
yourself,
been
please?
rearranged.
Yes, this is the rear driver's side of Lindsay's van, back where like the gas cap is.
And does this fairly and accurately capture that portion of the van on the day you saw it and took the photo?
Yes.
Could we have number 20, please, on the screen? Is there any damage visible on this photograph?
Yes, that line there, that's not supposed to, that white line going down the side, that's not supposed to be there. That's the damage part of it.
The one running from the back over the gas tank down to the rear tail light?
Correct.
After that,
No objection.
Exhibit 13.
let me show you a second.
Hi, Denisha. Well, to put it bluntly, Aidan is on trial for reporting on the Kearney trial. That's it. And he's had this restraining order against him, against a victim. And they claim he violated it by going to the Kearney trial or Kearney pre-trial hearing. And this is one, how many open cases does Aidan have against him now? I know that there was 16, then 10 was dismissed, so 6 left, and then he might have picked up another 2. So it's all bullshit. But the Commonwealth does anything in their power to drain his resources and keeping him occupied, because they don't care. They use taxpayers' money to do this. Why catch rapists, home invasions? Why have all of that done when you can, for over a year and a half, go after a reporter?
Photo, can you identify that?
Yes, that would be the back of Lindsay's van with the license plate.
And you took that why?
I took that. When we take photos of vehicles, you want to make sure you get a picture of the license plate, whereas the other photos I don't believe show the license plate. So that's.
Thank you. So can we have 21, please? Am I up for this?
And this is the taillight.
No, there's not.
Exhibit 14.
And finally, can you identify this one, please?
What's the
Yes,
damage?
this is a picture of a broken tail light.
What? Where? Where?
Yes, this is a picture of a broken tail light. Same side, the driver's side. So looking at that picture, it would be the left tail light.
They are
It's
trying.
appears to have been,
They are trying
structured
to blame
so it's
Aidan for it, but
glass.
Thank you. And can we have 22, please?
oh, maybe we can see it now.
For that, yeah.
Any greater known
No,
government?
sir.
Exhibit 15.
Now, when you were talking to this, the time.
That's the damage.
I thought she was kind of quiet on scene. That's just what I remembered, that she seemed kind of quiet.
All right.
Did she make any comment to you about needing to go somewhere or anything?
Objection to the leading form of question, Your Honor.
Sustained, but it's all right. It's not controversial. Just rephrase it, please.
Did you have any conversation with her about her further plans for the day?
I don't recall anything being mentioned about going to do something after. No,
Did she mention her children?
I don't recall at all with that. If she had said that,
Don't recall one?
no, one way or another, no.
All right, thank you, officer. No further questions.
Officer, good afternoon, sir. You responded to the rear of the registry of the motor, the rear parking lot of the registry of the motor vehicle, registry of deeds, pardon me, at 143206, right?
Correct.
And we know that because there's a section in your police report where you document these kinds of things, right?
Yes, or I'm sorry, us or dispatch. I don't know the time frame. I don't know if I wrote that or dispatch.
Wherever it comes from, it's a routine part of your police reports, right?
Correct.
And so here, this was received at 143206, right? And you can look at it if you can. Is that about right?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
May I
Sorry.
approach you? I'm just going to approach and just show you the report. Counsel, you have that, right?
Yeah, this.
Just going to show you this document. That's your report, sir, right?
Yes,
All right. And in that report, it has a section for when the call is received, right?
Mhm.
And when the call is cleared, right?
Correct.
So can you tell us when it was received and when you cleared the scene?
so it looks like it would have been 1432 is when dispatch would have received the call, and then 1447 is when I would have radioed that I was clear.
Okay, meaning that you leave, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's how much time altogether?
For the call, yes, from the time that dispatch received it to the time I left.
All right, let me take that back from you. So that's about 15 minutes, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you were there about 15 minutes.
There's no way I can say that because, as I stated earlier, my sergeant first called me and said that there was a call pending, which was this call, and I was in the middle of a call on Route 1. So I really have no idea how long dispatch had that call before I got sent there.
So it's even less than the 15 minutes that you probably dealt with this, right?
Correct.
All right, and you get there, and there's a complaint about damage to a vehicle.
Yes.
And Ms. Kearney or some of those other folks that were with her communicated to you that they had left from the courthouse and they came back to the back lot, right?
I believe something along those lines.
You received information that the vehicle may have been vandalized, right?
Correct.
And did you document the alleged vandalism with photographs?
Yes.
Were you able to ascertain any sort of evidence that this was any sort of fresh damage versus pre-existing damage?
The only thing I did then was just simply reach out to the actual physical structures closest to the vehicle to try to obtain camera footage there. But
You know what, sorry, let me ask you a better question. When you looked at the car itself, were you able to ascertain whether that was sort of fresh damage or whether it may have been his pre-existing damage?
I don't think I'm in a position to say because I don't have that sort of training to know if it was within a half hour. Sorry, Judge.
All right. So the precise answer is no, you didn't do anything that.
Correct.
And you're not trained in any sort of accident or anything like that.
Correct.
Is that right? But we're all all trained in common sense, aren't we?
Yes.
And so there's no like fresh paint powder or anything, curls of paint or anything, right?
Nothing that I noticed to that effect.
And there was no pieces of taillight laying around.
I didn't notice any pieces of tail light.
So it's fair to say that there was no affirmative indicators such as those that this had just happened, right?
Correct.
So did anyone say to you that there had just been a violation of a restraining order?
No,
What does it say there? Affidavit, handwritten affidavit. That's nice. Says, Mr. Barrett, do hereby state that on or around the time Aidan Kearney was incarcerated back in December. What? I received a call from Lindsay Gaetani. Lindsay insisted that I call my cousin Frankie to tell him that Aidan was using his daughter's photo on his... Ooh. What? Oh, this is high-end defamation. High-end. High-end defamation. If that is what Lindsay claimed to this officer, I mean, that's defamation per se. I mean, there's absolutely no way around it. Absolutely no way around that. Making those claims to an officer. Seriously. Wow. False reporting is a crime. The content in itself is defamation per se, because it alleges a crime, a heinous crime. Wow. Wow.
at that time when I was in the call, I was just focused on. Sorry. No. Sorry. Sorry.
Just the question and answer it. That's all. Did anyone say that someone had just violated a restraining order?
No. Not that,
Did Tani say someone had just violated a restraining order?
not that I can remember. No.
Did she appear upset?
I don't know. Maybe
You said
she
she
was
was kinda quiet.
just over there to the right of me. So I can't form an opinion exactly on if she was upset or how upset. I don't know.
So you were focused on this alleged motor vehicle damage, and you mentioned on direct that sort of like trying to speculate about how this might have happened. Somebody, or Ms. Katani said that I have a restraining order against someone, right?
Correct.
So she raised the topic of a restraining order, didn't she?
She did, yes.
And
she did
she
not.
didn't say anything after that to the effect of, and he just violated it 15 minutes ago, right?
Well, with that, I told her on scene that I didn't have to see the order, so I didn't even attempt to look at it.
That's my next question. Was she trying to show you the order?
Yes.
So she had it out in her hand?
Yes, or I believe she had in her hand. Yes.
What would you have done if you had received information that a restraining order was violated by someone 10, 12, 15 minutes prior, right up the street? What would you have to do?
At that point, I would be going up to the courthouse and arresting Mr. Carney here.
Now, were there any sort of impediment to you investigating or doing anything with respect to either the damage or anything else at the time?
Sorry, anything from stopping me from?
Was there a big mob of people descending upon you in that fat parking lot at the registry of deeds?
I did not notice a large group of people.
Did you have any trouble, anything from the scene give you any trouble in concentrating or focusing or dealing with anything at that scene?
No.
And then you were going to mention earlier about some of the steps you took to try to investigate this damage claim?
Yes.
What'd you do?
I reached out to the registry of deeds and I reached out to the Norfolk Debt of Insurance Group, which was the building right next to where her vehicle was parked.
And were you able to find any surveillance video or anything like that?
No, not from either one.
How many people were in this group that Ms. Katani was in?
5 or 6, 7-ish, maybe something along those lines.
Thank you very much. One more, please, Ryan, if I may. Thank you very much, Officer. Nothing further.
Nothing on either.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
Lindsay Gaetani, please.
Lindsay Gaetani.
Okay, so now let's listen to the alleged victim. Here comes Lindsay. Now they are asked to not show her, but everybody knows what she looks like. And oh, this is going to be so bad.
We just arranged for the camera not to photograph you while you're testifying.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself to the court, please?
My name is Lindsay Gattani.
And could you spell your last name, please?
Gaetani.
Ms. Gattani, directing your attention to February 26th of 2024. Did you have a plan to go somewhere that day?
I did.
And where did you intend to go?
To the Dedham or Norfolk Superior Courthouse for the Karen Reed hearing or trial.
And once you arrived, what did you plan to do?
I planned to meet with a group in the parking lot behind the Registry of Deeds and then walk in to the courthouse as a group.
And how did you get there?
I drove.
What kind of car did you drive?
It was a 2018 green Honda Odyssey.
And when you drove, was there any, when you got in your car to drive over, was there any damage to the car, such as a scratch on the side?
Nope.
Broken tail light or anything?
Not a witness in
No,
the
as a matter of fact, I
trial.
had just,
You answered the question.
no, there was no.
And had you had any work done on the car recently?
Yes, I had.
And what did you have done, and what was the approximate cost of your?
Objection.
When you arrived, did you see the other people at the point that you arrived? Sorry, at the point that you arrived, what did you do?
When I arrived, I did not see anyone from my group yet, so I waited in my car.
And how long would you say you waited in the car?
Not very long, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at the most.
And relative to the Registry of Deeds parking lot, can you give us a ballpark of where in that lot you parked?
I decided to park at the very back end of the parking lot, closest to the trees, farthest away from the Registry of Deeds.
So nobody would see that your car was already damaged? So that you were out of sight of any surveillance cameras? Is that why, Miss Gaetani? Why you parked in the furthest end? Why would you park in the furthest end? That's so stupid. Jesus Christ.
And you said you waited in your car 5 minutes or so. Eventually, did you see someone or some people from the group that you were planning to meet?
I did. I had made a call first to see if they were there, but then I did eventually see
And who did you call?
Jennifer McCabe, I believe.
And
Jen McCabe orchestrating. She's a real orchestrator of things. She orchestrated this against Aidan. We know from the Karen Reed trial that she orchestrated the writing down the timeline so everybody could say what she wanted. And it failed spectacularly. And here is this, Miss Gaetani, also in contact with Jen McCabe. I wonder if this will show up in a lot of civil cases. Folks, this here, everything that went on in this trial, everything she says she did with Jen McCabe, discovery! Oh.
when you got out of your car, was it a result of that phone call or a result of seeing someone, or what prompted you to get out of your car?
my memory serves correct, I believe she said she was almost there. So I didn't call again. I just saw eventually after 5 or 10 minutes that several cars pulled in, and I recognized some of the people from the group that I was meeting.
Yes, do you remember who it was you recognized?
I did see Jennifer McCabe and some of her family members and other witnesses from the case.
All right, and then did you walk over to meet them? Did they walk back to you? What happened?
I got out of my car, they parked, and then we all just stood in the vicinity of our cars and waited for other parties to arrive that were part of the group.
By the way, you said you called Jennifer McCabe. Did you have your cell phone with you?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Catani, do you have any children?
I did.
And did you make arrangements for the care of your children at that time?
I did.
And what arrangements did you make?
My 2 youngest were in a daycare, so it's an all-day daycare. And then my 2 oldest, who were set to get out around a little past 3 o'clock, I had arranged for a babysitter to get them off the bus and bring them into my apartment and stay with them until I got back.
And did you have a plan to get back or a desire to get back at a particular time?
I wasn't sure how long the hearing was going to last, but I told the sitter, who had never met my kids before, I told her that I would check.
What? You hired somebody who never... Now, there's always a first time for babysitting, but... Okay, this is a bit of speculation from my part. Welcome to my show. This seems to be a last-minute thing. Because getting babysitters... you only get first-time babysitters if it's, hey, I need one and I need one now. And that is because Aidan posted, I believe earlier that day, that he was going there. So she was in a rush, or Jen McCabe was in a rush, or both of them was in a rush. You need to get a babysitter. Oh, I need a babysitter. We don't have a babysitter for you. Checking Facebook Marketplace. Can you babysit my... Something of the sort. Pure panic to get a babysitter to get her to the courthouse. And that is why she only found a babysitter who never saw the kids before.
In with her to make sure that she got the kids off the bus safely.
Now, at the time you went to this hearing, did you have any understanding as to whether or not Mr. Kearney would or would not be present?
I did not know.
And it's fair to say that you had a former relationship with Mr. Kearney, is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, ooh. Ooh, who was the babysitter? Oh, please, Aidan, tell me you know who the babysitter... Thank you, Jennifer. What if it was one of the McCabe kids? Or one of the Albert kids? Who was sent over? Is the name mentioned? I don't know. Oh, maybe on cross-examination. I have no idea. I haven't seen this.
Restraining order against Mr. Kearney?
I did.
Protective order? And did you have a copy of that with you at the time?
I did. I always carry it in my purse.
And at this point,
Now, that's not unusual in itself.
let me approach. Let me show you something, Ms. Catani, and ask if you can identify it.
This looks to be a copy of the restraining order that I had against Mr. Carney.
Albert,
May I see that?
Well, I don't know about Massachusetts rules, but usually a restraining order goes both ways. The person the restraining order is against cannot actively go to that place or that place. Or usually, because I watch George Simpson and George Boyd and those guys a lot, and there's a lot of cases there about restraining orders. And it's usually geographically very, very limited. You can't be within 100 yards of that address, on that address, and not her as a person in this case. And that goes both ways, so that the person who got the restraining order against somebody cannot also go to the place they are at in order to induce a violation. Because then that in itself is also a violation of the restraining order. Usually. I don't know how it works in Massachusetts. But then again, who would prosecute it? who would take that case in Morris's office? Who would take the case against her? Nobody, because they were already in contact, allegedly. Isn't that weird?
No objection.
Exhibit 16.
So after you left the group, did you go anywhere with you?
Yes,
And where did you go?
we walked into the courthouse, the superior courthouse.
Can you tell us the path you took and what you observed as you walked into the courthouse? Or walked up to the courthouse and
So there was a lot of people in our group, and we kind of separated into two smaller groups. And I believe I was in the first group, and we started walking through the parking lot of the Registry of Deeds. And I believe we went to, if you're in the back, we went towards the right, I believe, around the Registry of Deeds to come around and then cross the crosswalk to go over to.
And after you crossed the crosswalk, where did you go from there?
We went up the stairs and into the front entrance of the Superior Courthouse.
Before you entered, did anybody in your group make contact by telephone with anybody at the courthouse?
Yes, I believe that it was Kerry Roberts who called the victim advocate and informed him.
And did you understand the purpose of the call?
Yes,
What was the purpose?
to inform the court officers that somebody from our group had a restraining order against somebody that may or may not be inside the courthouse.
And when you got over to the courthouse, were you met by that?
When we got inside, no, we went through security.
And after you went through security, what happened next?
Then we were met by the advocate who brought us into a back room to wait because there was a big crowd in the hallways.
And do you remember who the advocate was?
I
Do you remember if it was a man or a woman?
believe it was a male.
Okay. I suggested it was a gentleman named Steve Nelson.
Yes,
sound familiar?
that sounds familiar. Yes,
So Mr. Nelson takes you to a room somewhere?
yes.
And do you remember where the room was? First floor, second floor?
I don't recall.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you ask me something?
Yes, but let me back up a little. As you're walking up the steps to the courthouse, did you see observations of people outside, what they're doing, what they're saying?
There was a lot of people, a big crowd. I just yelling obscenities and screaming, and I couldn't really make out. I just tried. I had pretty much just tunnel vision.
Yeah, Miss Gaetani, we watched that video. We heard Free Karen Reed and a lot of other things cheering for Karen Reed. Maybe it was in your imagination. Maybe you were hallucinating. Maybe a flash of schizophrenia and you heard something. Or you're lying.
But at some point, you proceed to the door of the court.
Yes,
That's the main courtroom on the second floor.
I believe so.
Tell me what happened when you got to the door of the courtroom. What happened next?
So there are glass panels on the door, I remember, and looking in, and I made eye contact with Mr. Carney, who had turned around. And
Oh, that's absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. First of all, everybody else has testified they walked directly up to the second floor. In order for her to have eye contact with Aidan, she had to be at the doors at the first floor. And there is absolutely, as for now, maybe they have pictures, but there's nothing there that says she was actually at the first floor door.
and mouthed what looked to me to be the F word.
Are you still outside the courtroom?
I'm still outside, yes.
Is the door open or closed?
Closed.
So you see it? I think the doors are glass.
Glass, part of the door is glass.
Oh, so you couldn't hear him say anything, but you saw him make eye contact.
Yes.
And you inferred that he mouthed what you just said.
Correct.
Objection to the leading form of question.
All right, did you proceed to go into the courtroom?
Yes.
What happened?
I walked in with the group that I was with, and I believe it was a court officer that led us to the right, the benches on the right, and had a seat to the right.
And you sat down where you were directed?
Yes.
That's not what other people have testified to. Other people have testified to that somebody's told you to go up there and sit by the O'Keefes. Now, whatever the O'Keefes were doing there. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. This is so much bullshit. I predict that cross-examination here will be a lot of, I don't recall, I don't remember, because she has, in my opinion, she has trained herself to answer a certain question in a certain way. That's why it goes so smooth now during direct examination. I predict it won't be as smooth during cross.
What happened?
After we were sitting for only a couple minutes, I saw.
And why do I say this? Well, she never told any law enforcement officer at the place that guy is violating a restraining order.
A court officer walked by us down the aisle, and I turned to him, and the court officer went up to where Mr. Carney was sitting, and then Mr. Carney stood up.
And after he stood up, what did he do?
I saw him leave
Did he leave by himself, or did he leave in the company of someone else?
with a woman, female.
Do you know who the female was?
Not at the time. I know now it to be his girlfriend,
And do you know the name?
Meredith O'Neill.
So after Mr. Kearney leaves, what do you do?
I continued to sit for the remainder of the hearing.
How long was that?
It wasn't very long, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I can't really say for sure.
And while you're sitting there, do you see Mr. Kearney at all?
No, but I wasn't looking around.
You were facing the front of the courtroom, looking at the judge, etc.
Correct.
So the hearing is over. You get up to leave. Do you leave alone, or do you leave in the company of someone?
I left with the group that I had come in with.
And as you're walking through the courthouse, do you make any observations about the people nearby?
Inside the courthouse, there was still a lot of people in the hallway that were looking at our group and yelling things and swearing at us, and it was just very loud.
We saw the video, you lying sack of shit.
Yes.
You go down the stairs.
So as we exited out the entrance doors, we took a right instead of going down the stairs.
Okay. You're ahead of me, Ms. Catania. I was talking about the stairs from the second floor to the first floor.
Oh, I apologize.
You take those stairs down,
Yes,
and then when you get down there, do you go out the same door you came in, or do you go out?
the same door.
And that's the front door?
Yes.
Now I think we're on the same page. What happens then?
So then we walk out the front door.
As you walk out the front door, do you make any observations of the crowd in terms of the number of people around or what you're hearing or seeing?
There was a lot of people, and it seemed to be a much rowdier crowd than when we had entered.
And as you're walking out, you look around, at any point do you see Mr. Kearney?
I did.
And when you saw him, where was he?
As soon as I walked out the front doors and looked straight ahead right before we went down the ramp, I could see him standing straight across from me on the steps of the Registry of Deeds.
And you never told a soul. Not any of the you didn't run back into the courthouse. Hey, I have a restraining order on that guy. He's standing over there waiting for me. You didn't. Not the crosswalk cop. Not a single word. Nothing until whoever took maybe it was Ian McCabe who then spread the word. Hey, Aidan was there. Just send it. Did you shoot the video? See if you can find him. Let's make up a story. I don't remember how Ian McCabe talks, but I think I'm pretty close.
Other than standing there, did you notice him doing anything?
Just holding his phone up.
No bailiff officer escort, no nothing.
What do you do with that?
Yeah.
So I was a little nervous. The group that I was with.
You have to listen to the question, please.
Okay.
Where do you go?
To the right, down the ramp.
You went down the ramp and then, do you remember who you were near at that point? Who was in front of you? Who was behind you?
I know that Jen McCabe stayed closest to me at all times. I didn't really know a lot of the others because I was just introduced to many of them that day. So I just know that Jen McCabe and one of her sisters told me to stay close to them.
So in terms of where you were in the pack, so to speak, were you near the front or near the back?
I was, I guess, kind of in the middle.
Do you remember how you were dressed that day?
Yes, I had a long black, kind of like pea coat, I guess, black pants, black flats, and a white purse.
So you proceed down to, you go to the bottom of the ramp, and where do you go from there?
We took a right and started walking as if you're going towards Dedham Square so we could get to the crosswalk.
And did you make any further observations of Mr. Carney either at that point or earlier, from the one you just described?
Not at that point.
So do you cross the crosswalk?
Yes.
And where do you go from there?
Then, so we cross the crosswalk, and then it leads across to a street that's between the middle of the Registry of Deeds and the district court. So we proceeded to go towards that street that's in the middle of both buildings.
And anywhere along that route, did you see Mr. Carney again?
Yes, at that point I did.
And where was he when you saw him at that point?
He was on my left. There's like a wall, like on the side of the Registry of Deeds. I don't know what else to call it. It's just like a brick or a cement wall, and he was standing there again, holding his phone up.
So he moved from the previous location?
Yes.
Did he move towards you or away from you?
Towards.
At some point, do you believe you heard him say something?
Yes.
And what do you believe you heard him say?
Liar.
And are you sure that it was Mr. Kearney that you heard?
To me, it sounded like his voice. Yes.
Next question.
So the group continued walking. And did you proceed down the parking lot?
Yes.
And how far down did you go with the parking lot?
We walked about halfway, and then stopped for a couple minutes.
All right. And you say you walked about halfway. Are you near your car at that point?
Not yet.
And you stopped for a conversation?
There was a few members from our group, I think, that were parked in that spot, so we stopped so the other members could say goodbye.
All right. And after you did that, did people walk to their cars?
Yes, a group of us.
And did you walk to your car?
Yes.
And at some point, did anything about your car attract you?
Yeah, another reason for you to park a bit away and be there before everybody else. Because then nobody would see that whatever damage was to your car just might have been there when you got there. Isn't that strange? Isn't that weird?
attention?
Yes.
And what was it that caught your eye?
I noticed that my back driver's side taillight was smashed.
And
Smashed? Smashed? It looks like a woman with a hammer hit it and it became a bit spiderwebby. That's not smashed.
So I take it when you noticed that, you probably approached your car.
Yes.
And when you approached, did you make any further observations about your car?
Yes.
And what did you notice?
There was also a deep indent and scratch that went from the smashed taillight all the way down through two quarter panels, the rear quarter panel and the second quarter panel where the sliding door began.
And can we have a photo of that? Can we have the 22, please? Directing your attention to the previously introduced exhibit and shown. Screen.
Already been
Does that photo
shown.
show the damage to your car?
Some of it, yes.
What in particular?
The cracked taillight and the beginning of the scratch or indent where the front of the taillight begins.
Didn't you take pictures of your own? Do you have to rely on... Oh, well.
And could we have number 20, please? And directing your attention to the photo that's now on the screen, previously introduced as an exhibit. What does that photo show?
The remainder of the scratch and indent that was on the car.
All right. And what was your reaction while seeing this?
I was extremely upset and started crying.
Nobody... wait a minute. What's her face? Miss Bingo Wings. What's her face? The sister of someone. She didn't say anything, at least not. Oh, she became upset and started. No, I don't remember that. Hi, James. Yeah, she might just have reversed into something.
Did you take any action at that point as a result of you this damage?
I did not personally.
You aware that anybody else took any action upon seeing this damage?
Yes.
Do you know who did that?
I don't. I do know the person who took pictures, but there was somebody else that called the police. I don't know who that was.
You didn't call the police yourself?
No.
You did it on a cell phone, didn't you?
I did.
Is there any reason why you didn't call the police yourself?
My phone had died.
When you say died, you mean it lost its charge?
The battery died.
Expired? Did you ask the other person to call the police?
I don't believe so. I think it was suggested to me.
So after the call was placed to the police, what happened?
The police arrived shortly after.
Very quickly.
And then all of a sudden, you were calm and collective. It's almost as you can turn that off and on
maybe
at
5 minutes,
will.
but I can't be sure.
And when you say the police arrived, one officer, more than one, how many?
One officer.
And did you later learn the name of that officer?
Yes.
And what's his name?
Officer Kozak.
And when he arrived, what happened?
He got out of his car and came over and asked what the issue was.
He asked you, or he asked someone with you, or he just directed it generally?
I think it was pretty generally. He didn't really know who he was talking to.
Did you have a conversation with him at that point?
I did.
And to the best of your recollection, what did you say to him and what did he say to you?
I told him that I had just been inside the courthouse, that I had come out and
Objection.
I noticed the damage to my car.
Did you make any mention of having a restraint?
Yes.
What did you say?
Well, he had asked me if I had any idea who could have done it. And that's when I brought up the restraining order.
All right. And did you tell him the terms of the restraining order?
I can't recall.
Did you show him the restraining order?
I can't recall.
Did he ask you about the restraining order?
Yes.
What did he ask you to?
I remember I told him it was against someone named Aidan Carney, and I started to explain who he was, and he stopped me mid-sentence and said that he was aware I think he said the Turtleboy guy. And I said, yes, that's correct.
And was that the extent of the conversation?
No.
What was said then?
I explained to him what had occurred with the courtroom, how he had left because of the restraining order, and that I believe, in my opinion, that had upset him, and that I thought that he had instructed somebody to damage my car because he was upset about that.
And what did the officer tell you he was going to do, if anything?
He told me he was going to check the cameras in the nearby area. He would do his best to see if there was any camera that caught the person or people that had made the damage to my car, and that he would be in touch with me.
Now, when you were having this conversation, did you have any concern about your children?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Subject to cross.
I was nervous because the babysitter I had hired to get my children off the bus, like I had mentioned earlier, had never met my children before and didn't know what they looked like. So I had told her I would call her, step out and call her when I knew the bus was arriving to make sure she got them off the bus. And because my phone had died, I had no way to do that.
So what did you want to do with that?
I wanted to just get in my car and get back to my house as soon as possible.
As he comes.
Court is in recess in this case until
All right. Cool. Yeah. Whoever edited this for Aidan, amazing. Amazing. Let's listen to that final part again.
Sure, she got them off the bus, and because my phone had died, I had no way to do that.
So what did you want to do with that?
I wanted to just get in my car and get back to my house as soon as possible.
As he comes.
court is in recess in this case until
I think when we left off, you had just described the police officer describing the investigatory steps that he was intending to take. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you wait around while he did that, or what did you do after concluding the conversation with the office?
I didn't wait around. He just told me he would be in touch.
So at that point, what do you do?
I got in my car. I plugged my phone into the charger, and I pulled out and left.
And at some point, your phone regained its charge.
Yes.
And, what did you do at that point? Say about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:06, 3:07?
Well, I first called the babysitter to make sure that my kids got off the bus.
And after you were, I think they did.
Yes.
And after you were reassured about that, did your mind turn to anything else?
Yes.
And what was that?
To call the police back to inquire about the violation of the restraining order.
And by violation, you mean what?
The officer had told me he would check the cameras about the vandalism, but I had realized I was so upset about my car that he didn't mention what steps he was going to be taking about the restraining order. And
You just said you had a restraining order. You never told him that you saw Aidan there. This is so stupid.
the violation.
Objection, non-responsive, motion is sustained.
So what did you actually inquire about? What was your purpose of inquiry?
To call the police to ask if I needed to go back to the police station or if the matter was already being handled.
And did you receive a response?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did they suggest that you did?
I believe they said that I would have to either come back down to the police station or go to the courthouse the next day.
And what was your situation then in your mind in terms of going to the police station?
I had my kids at home. The sitter was only going to be there for a short period of time, so I let the officer on the phone know that I had to go home to my kids first and asked if it would be okay if I returned later that evening.
Did you?
I did.
And you returned later in the evening. What happened when you got to the police station?
I met with an officer in the lobby of the police station.
Do you remember who that was?
Oh, I can't wait for cross-examination
I'm
on
not
this
sure.
Was that
fucker.
officer Howard that's afternoon?
I believe so, yes.
And did you make a statement to us?
I did.
And did you provide him at any point with anything further?
Kerfuffle. Yeah. Her voice is very similar to Detective Vivorito from the YSL trial. Detective Vivorito is, in my opinion, the most incompetent cop/expert I have ever seen in any case. That includes Shannon Burgess. That includes Dever. Yeah. That includes Dever as worst cop/expert. She is at par with the pinch and zoom guy from the YSL trial. If you're new here and wonder, what's a pinch and zoom guy? Well, that is the guy who the prosecution in the YSL trial wanted in as a forensic video analyst. And during the Daubert hearing, where they check his credentials, well, what this forensic video analyst did was he got a video from the investigators and a timestamp. He played it up until here's the timestamp. He paused, took a screenshot, took that screenshot to Photoshop, and pinched and zoomed. That's it. That is all he did. And he'd been doing it for over 20 years, testifying about video, analyzing video in federal and state court. It seems like nobody actually went in deep into his credentials before, because all he did was pinch and zoom. And he had made a living out of it for 25 years. No education in video as a video analyst. No training, none whatsoever. He just more or less showed up. Here is what I do. Anybody wants my services? And Fulton County said, yeah, we can use your services 25 years ago. And for 25 years, he pinched and zoomed. That is how bad Detective Vivorito is. And Detective Vivorito was a gang expert in the YSL trial. But yeah, I agree. She actually sounds like her.
I think at that time I showed him video or pictures on my phone.
All right. And just a little bit. At some point, remember at the time you called the police station?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Remember at the time you called the police station?
It was around 3 o'clock, I believe.
And was that recorded on your phone or elsewhere?
It should have been on my call log, yes.
I can show you this and ask if you can identify it.
Yes, it's just, I called at 3:07 p.m. on February 26th.
Is it true and accurate copy of the call log?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, something else about Detective Vivorito. Detective Vivorito is the last known person who had access to Young Thug's Richard Miller watch worth over $350,000. And after that, still from a video where she showed it, oh, look, a Richard Miller watch. It disappeared. And between the disappearance of that and her testifying in court 2 years later, she had but she had a lot of cosmetic surgery. Probably in the region of $150,000 to $200,000 worth of cosmetic surgery. She had an ass enlargement, breast enlargement, stuff to her face. I mean, so yeah. So every time you see me or Doug Weinstein when we say, "Where's the watch?" on social media, that is what we are referring to. Where's the watch?
No objection? No. Exhibit 17.
Now, at some point, Mr. Tony, at some point the next day, actually, did you have occasion to view a video presentation or YouTube presentation or internet presentation by the defendant recounting his point of view of what had happened in the courtroom that day?
Yes, I was alerted to a blog that he wrote.
Did you view that blog?
I did.
I'm going to show you a stack of pictures. Let me ask you this first. Do you remember the title of that blog?
Not word for word.
Let me show you this and ask if it refreshes your memory.
Yes, this is it.
All right, and what was the title of that blog?
Canton Cover-Up Part 299. McAlberts use fake domestic violence victim Lindsay Gattani as human shield to evict award-winning journalist from Karen Reed hearing.
I see nothing false about that.
Does this photo represent the start of his blog?
Yes.
And are you anywhere in the photo underneath?
Yes, there's two pictures, and I'm in both pictures.
Could we have, my apologies. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
And where do you appear first in this picture?
The picture on the left, I am the female in the middle with the white purse and the black jacket.
How about
And on the right, I again am wearing the black jacket next to the man with the plaid coat.
What's relevance, Judge? I know no relevance to this proceeding.
Are you suggesting those photographs were taken on the day of the alleged incident?
Exactly.
I'll take it to any for that objections.
Yes, Your Honor. Exhibit 18.
Well, just for the record, actually, I'm not concerned about whether it's that day. You don't concede it's that day, but I don't want there to be any implication that my client took those pictures or had anything to do with those pictures.
It is what it is, you know. But
Thank
you.
Well, regardless of who took these photographs, Mr. Tani, they appear in the defendant's presentation. Is that correct?
On his blog.
It wasn't even him who took the pictures. They were sent to him so he could write the... Oh, were you implying there, Mr. Prosecutor? From the class of Bumfuck, Indiana School of Law, anno 1902?
That's posted on his website, correct?
I'm going to hand you a stack of photographs and ask you to thumb through them and look at them. Where did you see?
Those are all pictures from the same blog in question.
And can these pictures record the events of the day of the alleged violation?
Most of them.
I'm going to ask you if you would put them up on the screen one at a time in order, following this one. Just one. I'm going to ask her to comment on each of them. What does this picture show, Mr. Tani?
That shows me in the middle of the group, and I believe this is as we were walking into the courthouse.
All right, next picture, please.
Just trying to keep track. And are these exhibit numbers or are these evidence yet? Or
Do you have any evidence that you're going to offer
I think I'm
them?
going to offer.
Can we offer them first, Your Honor, so I can know what we're going to have later? I don't have an
You
objection.
offer them and then you're objecting to them? Probably.
I don't think so, Judge. If I can just have a look.
I don't think Aidan took any of these.
objection.
You offered always one exhibit, or
Let's,
with 19A through.
let's start at the back and then move consecutively.
Take some time. I think this is easier. So this is 19 to 33.
So, Mr. Carney, I'm going to direct your attention to Exhibit 19. Which I believe is 30. What does this other show?
I think it's the same picture we just saw before that I described, but I'm in the middle with the black jacket. Oh, okay. I believe I'm in the middle with the black jacket and the white purse, walking into court.
Yeah, now I'm going to direct your attention to exhibit number 20, which is 31.
So, in one of the absolute most covered trials in Massachusetts history, you were caught on some of the photos. These are what is usually called as just background photos. Oh, people are walking. Here's a tree. Here's a courthouse. Background photos. But in those photos that somebody took, not Aidan, she showed up, and after the fact, when Aidan realized, oh, fuck, this is what's going on, and somebody probably sent them to him.
What does this show?
I think this is also another picture of my.
Or as Nicola says, zoomed in snapshots of video. That could be that as well. Somebody just videotaping everything around there. Yeah.
Group that I was with and I walking into the courthouse.
Now I'm going to direct your attention to exhibit 21.
You were there with the McAlberts
32,
and the O'Keefes. Of
This is
course,
a picture of myself and the group I was with as we were exiting the courthouse.
And where are you in this picture?
I am behind the woman with the white sweater. I'm wearing sunglasses.
Thank you. And now,
isn't that? Hold on. I just had a thought there.
I'm going to direct your attention to exhibit 22, which is about 33. What does this show? And if you're in the picture, tell us
That is a picture of myself walking into the courtroom. or courthouse, sorry.
And I'm going to
Hold on. Oh, look. What is everywhere? Cameras. Not because you went there, because it's a highly covered trial.
Walking into the courtroom. Or courthouse, sorry.
And I'm going to skip Exhibit 23, which is essentially the same for the record. And let's go to Exhibit 24, also very similar, do you agree? And let's go to Exhibit 25, which is, thank you, Mr. Bradle, which is 35. All right, what does this show?
This is a picture of myself walking into the courthouse with the group that I was with.
Shit, lady. It's, yeah.
And now let's go to 26, which is our 36. What does this show?
Again, a picture of myself with the group I was with leaving the courthouse, and that would be me at the back. I think that's me at the back with the white purse.
Who are the other people in the picture? If you
In the very front, that looks to be like Matt McCabe. And then I see Jennifer McCabe next to the woman with the white sweater, but I can't make out the other three from here.
All right, thank you. Who was that, Joseph? That was 26.
The good thing about this being a bench trial is that judges have seen it all often for many years. So just because, oh, look, there's a lot of pictures here, that's not impressive. Because he knows as well that she's in a group with witnesses. Of course, there's going to be pictures. What's in here is, do Aidan have the right to talk about it? And to my knowledge, the restraining order does not say he's not allowed to report on what's going on.
27, which is our 37. Is that the same group?
Ah, good point, Denise Sells. If Aidan was already in the courtroom, how is he supposed to have taken the pictures of her going into the courthouse? Good point, Denise. Thanks. Good to have you here.
A little further down.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Let's do Exhibit 28, which is our 38. Who does this picture show?
And this again shows myself with the group that I was with walking out of the courthouse.
Who's that in front?
Jennifer McCabe is
Where are you with this?
That's the same picture
behind
as...
her, to like not the woman that's behind her on the right, but the left.
All right.
Yeah, yes.
Other than
From a vacation I went on with my.
At some point, Ms. Catani, did you have occasion to view one of Mr. Kearney's video broadcasts in which he explained the responsibilities of the defendant who is subject to a 209A protective order?
Yes.
When Your Honor, I'd like to show that video to you.
Is there any objection? No.
And I'm sorry.
Can I probably ask a question? Can I possibly ask for a further? Oh, no. You want to be heard? That is not the case. This instance that he's talking about is actually, he videotaped himself and placed it on the internet. There is a resident police sergeant the entire time. I was getting on the recorder. Mr. Carney spoke to me about.
It's a sidebar. An actual sidebar. It is sidebar counter 1. Welcome to the show. I have a sidebar counter. Yeah, you have to be silly sometimes. A visual sidebar. They seems like they are showing and playing something that is just let's just say 404. Waste of time.
Would you resume, please?
Right? Okay, stop right there. I was on a public street corner, and Mr. Carney approached me. As soon as she said that, the judge held it. So your excuse is that he approached you. That's your excuse. That's not, he's probably heard that excuse 1,000 times in the courtroom. Because these people do orders all the time. And people are always like, well, I was there first, and she approached me, Your Honor. That's why she called me, Your Honor, and that's why I had a conversation with her on the phone. And she approached me. It's not fair or not. That's not how it works. So if that's your excuse, you've already lost. You're fighting a losing battle if you go in there and say it like that. I don't know what she said. And then she obviously threw it out the door. He's on the internet, Your Honor. It's on video. Who knows? And I was behind the cop, so it's okay. I can violate the order as long as I'm hiding behind some dead cop. Okay. Not ours. So she's already shoot. Like, this is why we're telling you not to talk to her. Immediately, when the sergeant was with me, coming to get me from the public street corner, the sergeant informed him that I was there first, and he walked around after the order route to court. So the sergeant informed, and again, this is where she goes wrong. It's like, bro, you can't blame a cop either. You can't do what the cop said. The cop said I could violate the order. Doesn't matter. She knows this order. It's her responsibility to leave. If she interprets it as me sneaking around, that's not something I can control. She sees it that way. That's not what I was doing. But it doesn't matter anyway. She tells me.
Objection, motion is granted.
For the rule, stand for whatever way it is. Thank you. And Judge, I want to offer the disc of the video. Perhaps I could take that out while Mr. Kearney is beginning his cross-examination.
I'm waiting on you, Robert, to be okay.
Cross-examination.
Oh! Oh, please. Oh, please.
Okay, pardon.
Cross-examination?
Trying to get afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you on any sort of drugs or alcohol or medication that might impair your judgment of things you said?
No, I'm not.
Let's talk about the idea of a restraining order. A restraining order issues because a judge finds that there's a likelihood of imminent bodily harm, right?
Objection. Sustained.
The gist of getting a restraining order involves you going to court, right?
Correct?
You swear, you take an oath, right?
Yes.
You sign an affidavit, right?
Yes.
And you say that you're in fear of being harmed by someone, right?
Yes.
And you want the court to order them to stay away from you, right?
Yes.
So it's to protect you from the person going near you, right?
Correct.
So it's like a shield from the court, right?
I guess so.
But you use it as a sword, don't
Objection. Sustained.
you? You go to the courthouse, claim that you're scared of someone harming you, you get an order, and then you go find that person, don't you?
No.
So let's talk about 226. You knew that Mr. Carney was going to be at that 226 hearing, didn't you?
No, I did not.
You didn't. So you know now that from all the cross-examination and testimony that you and I have been through together, you know that Mr. Carney announces when he's going to be in court and when he's not, right?
I don't know. I don't watch all of his shows.
But you still watch his shows.
Well, you scrutinize his blogs, don't you?
No.
No. So you wrote a statement to the police about this incident that was about 65 pages, didn't you?
What was 65 pages?
You provided Officer Power on March 11, 2024 with a big thick packet of materials, didn't you?
I believe so.
And you wrote a 4 or 5 page signed statement at the beginning of it, right?
Yes.
And you signed it, right?
I'm not sure if I signed it.
That
I could
is
verify
stop.
if you show me.
Would you like to see it? You remember?
Sure.
Yeah. Take a look at this packet and take all the time. All done?
All done.
So you remember providing this packet to the police?
I do.
Now, this 226 hearing was just a few days after Mr. Carney got out of jail, right?
I believe so. I don't remember the exact date he got out, but I believe so.
Let's go back. Do you remember the night before he got out of jail? You tried to call
I didn't try to call him. I accidentally called
him?
him.
Let's try another. Your phone somehow called Mr. Carney's phone the night before he got out of jail, right?
It was an accidental call, yes.
So you had a block, didn't you?
No.
Was it a bot call? Was it? Was it? Did you place your ass on your phone and it magically called Mr. Aidan Kearney's phone? You have a restraining order on him. Why is his phone number in your phone, you hag?
Never had him blocked.
You never blocked.
No, never.
So you wanted to keep communicating with him?
No, I just removed him as a friend. I never blocked him.
So that call jogs your memory about this time period, right?
About the phone call? Yes.
So let's just try and put you back in this time period. You called him the night before he got out of jail on about the 22nd of February, right?
If that's the date you're saying, then yes, I'll take your word for that.
And the next day, he actually got out of jail, right?
Yes.
And then the 26th, you're in court at the Superior Court, right?
Yes.
And so you've never been to a Kearney court proceeding before that happened.
Well, I've been to one, but not inside the courtroom.
In fact, you were there with your paramour, Mr. Carney, at the time, right?
Which date?
I'm asking you.
Are you talking about the 26th?
You said you had been there prior.
Yes.
When was that?
That was, gosh, probably early September, maybe.
And that was with your paramour at the time, Mr. Carney, right?
I don't know what you mean by paramour, but no, I did not attend with him.
Since September of 23, you had never been to a Kearney hearing until 2/26/24, right?
Correct.
And you suddenly generated this interest right when Mr. Carney got out of jail and had announced that he was going to attend that hearing, right?
No.
You were in touch with Jennifer McCabe about that hearing?
I don't know if I was in touch with her prior about that hearing. I had been talking to her for quite some time before that hearing.
And you had been in touch with Kate Peter as well, correct?
Correct.
In fact, she was the one that was babysitting your kids at 2/26, wasn't she?
No, she was not.
Who was babysitting the kids?
Elisa Bennett,
And who's that?
another friend of mine.
Had she ever babysat the kids before?
No.
So you were concerned about that, right?
I was concerned about the kids getting, when my phone died, about the kids getting off the bus, that I couldn't confirm with her that they had gotten off.
So you had called someone to babysit your kids that your kids didn't know, and she didn't know your kids, right?
She had not met my kids before, no.
And your kids didn't know her, right?
Correct.
So it was so important for you to go to this hearing that you set up this sketchy babysitting situation for your kids, right?
Objection.
You can have it without the word sketchy. You can characterize it a different way. Sure.
This upsetting situation to you, you left in place, you left your kids to deal with that, and you went to Norfolk Superior Court.
My kids were all in school and daycare when I left. She just needed to get them off the bus, and I had known Elisa for a while and trusted her.
And she was going to get your kids.
This is I like this with Aidan, or whoever does his editing, or if he does it himself, I want to hire him. whoever this is, just to put in context.
Off the bus, right?
Yes.
So back to your scrutiny of his blogs. You wrote in your statement to the police that, in fact, just in the 60 days he was in jail, he mentioned my name 92 times in his blogs. You wrote that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And that makes it obvious that you were scrutinizing his blogs very closely.
No.
No. So you were able to figure out that your name was mentioned 92 times, but that doesn't mean that you would scrutinize his blogs pretty closely?
No, it doesn't, because I have a friend who was able to type my name in a search bar and count how many times my name was mentioned in his blogs. So I didn't have to go and scrutinize it myself.
And who's this friend that's so good with the computers?
I don't know his real name. I just know him from the internet.
So someone who you don't know his name counted up your name 92 times in the blogs.
Correct.
And in his blogs, you know that Mr. Carney announces when he's going to Kearney hearings and when he isn't. Isn't that right?
No, I don't know that.
And he announced all through that time period when he was going, when he wasn't. And of course, you knew he was in jail because you put him there, right?
Objection.
You knew he wasn't going to go when he was in jail, right?
Couldn't possibly go if he's in jail.
And you didn't attend any Kearney hearings when he was in jail, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't go on January 5th or January 18th when Mr. Carney was in jail, right?
No.
So now we get to 226, and you have this overriding interest in going to a Kearney hearing when Mr. Carney is finally out of jail, right?
I wouldn't call it that. No.
You hastily set up this unsatisfactory babysitting situation, right? Then you go to meet your newfound friends in the registry of deeds parking lot, correct?
No, it wasn't an unsatisfactory babysitting situation, and they weren't newfound friends. I had been friends with them for a few months at that point.
So who did you talk to arrange for you to meet them to attend this Kearney meeting?
Objection, relevance.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Who did you talk to among this group of people you met to arrange that meeting in time?
Originally, the person that invited me, Kate Peter told me that that the O'Keefe family wanted me to go.
Okay. Now,
A friend of mine.
Oh no! Oh fuck no! Oh fuck no! No. Oh, she had to make that up on the spot. But Kate Peters told me that somebody told her that the O'Keefe wanted me there. Oh no. Oh fuck no. Oh no.
And Kate Peter is also a very avowed, a very dedicated enemy of Mr. Carney, isn't she?
I don't know. I know
You don't know? Is that your answer?
Excuse me, by the way, folks, you've been fine. If I hear anybody loud, I'm not gonna wait for court officers to tell me to do something. Just let you know. Go ahead, Mr. Brady.
You know that she hates him, right?
I don't define other people's feelings for other people.
Well, you know that she's manifested many expressions that she hates him. She wants him in jail. She wants him to burn. She wants him to go away. She wants him to die. She wants him to suffer, right? All throughout the internet for months and months and months and months.
No.
No. Because you don't look at any of this stuff?
I've never heard her say any of those things.
Well, didn't you text her directly in one of those kind of conversations where you both kind of express your hatred? And you wrote, I hate him, meaning Mr. Carney. And she responded in kind, isn't that right?
I don't know which conversation you're talking about.
They're your conversations. You wrote online or in texting with Ms. Peter that you hate him, didn't you?
I would have to see that. I don't remember any of this, so I would have to see the text message.
That is somebody who has been listening to Jen McCabe. Can I see I need to see the text. I need to see the documentation. I need to see that is. Oh, this is so. This is so obvious that she's full of shit.
We'll get back to that. So you don't remember writing that you hate him?
I don't know which. I don't know. No, I don't. I would have
You
to.
do hate him, don't you?
I don't know if hate would be the word.
Now, you said that you had this babysitting situation arranged with this friend of yours who never met the kids and the kids hadn't met her. But that's not what you wrote in your statement to the police, is it?
I don't know. I would have to see what I wrote.
You wrote, he wrote, the Officer Kozak, took a report, and at this time we could see a group of protesters at the opposite far end of the parking lot, walking in our direction. So there were a mob bearing down on you, right?
I wouldn't classify it that way. I would use the words that I used.
And then he wrote, due to this, meaning this group of people, and the fact that I had to be back in Medfield at 3:10 p.m. to get my son off the bus, I decided to call and follow up with the police about the encounter with Mr. Carney on my drive back to Medfield. That's what he wrote, right?
Yes.
So you told the police that you had to get your son off the bus.
I wanted to be back there to get him off to make sure that he had gotten off because I had no way to call.
But you had this babysitting arrangement.
Well, I didn't think the finite details were necessary to explain to the officer about my baby.
Oh, you lie. This is why it's so good to have discovery, whether you actually have the detailings. This is something she apparently, the officer Kozak took a report, blah, blah, blah. She writes it herself at 3:10 to get my son off the bus. But now in court she's saying, oh, she had a babysitter. Oh, really? How about you were never planning on attending that hearing until you forced Aidan out? You were always planning to just be there to the first break and then hurl home to get your kids. There was never a babysitter, was it? Never. Never. You just had somebody say that she was going to babysit. There was never a babysitter because she was never supposed to be there for longer than to force Aidan out of court.
Sitting situation.
But that's not a finite detail. That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie.
You told the policeman that you had to get your son off the bus when you had someone else to get your son off the bus, right?
I had no way to contact that person to know if they had got them off the bus.
You were trying to backtrack and explain the unexplainable about why you didn't tell Kozak that Mr. Carney, you say, had just violated your.
I did.
Objection.
You understand. Next question.
I didn't hear the answer, I'm sorry.
I did tell Officer Kozak.
So you did tell Officer Kozak that Mr. Carney had just violated the order, right? Is that your testimony?
Yes, it is.
You called the Denver police at 3:07 that day, right?
Yes.
Weirdly, that cop had absolutely no recollection of you saying that. No. Now, memories can go away, but as they actually asked just not long ago to that cop, if somebody told you there was a violation of a restraining order, what would you do? He would enforce it. She never told him.
Just get the ball.
Oh, this is a good question. Would the babysitter not be a witness? Well, yes, but that also opens up for discovery. Where, oh, really? Are you sure you were there? Norma asks, what's in the report? Well, she said she has a restraining order against against Aidan, and she claims her car was scratched, but nothing about violation of a restraining order because nobody knew. She didn't see him. They probably thought he went home to live stream. Nobody expected him to stay around. Nobody saw him.
We're going to pause for about 15 minutes on this. Court's going to take care of some other matters.
Back on the record, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you, Cornish. Got it from TV that she was there as Paul's guest. Well, Paul is
to the Denver police about 3:07.
folks, I would say I should have. I understand Paul is grieving his brother, but I'm not sure he grieves his brother. I'm actually not sure he does. He sees this entire situation as a payday because everything I've learned about Paul O'Keefe tells me he's a fucking loser.
7 p.m. that day on 226?
Yes, I did.
So just the circumstances of that is, so you testified you were worried about your cell phone dying, you couldn't reach anybody, right?
Correct.
And you got to your car, you charged your cell phone.
Correct.
Did you call the babysitter?
Yes, I did.
So you got everything squared away?
I called her, yes, and she said that she got the kids off the bus.
So you could have gone and reported this,
I could have.
but you didn't.
I didn't know how long it would take, and I had to go make sure that the babysitter was going to be able to feed them dinner.
I'm sorry. can I finish your answer?
My son has food allergies that require special meals. Like, there wasn't an expectation that she was going to be watching them all night.
How did you not do this beforehand if your kids have food allergies? That is one of the first fucking thing you tell a babysitter. These are my kids, these are my ages, here are the allergies, here's to watch out for. And you did none of that because you were in so much of a hurry, because Aidan earlier that day said, I'm going to the hearing, and you or Paul or Jen or whoever fuck twat set this up. Everybody was in a hurry and you forgot. I'm not even sure there was a babysitter.
Right.
But nonetheless, the fact that you wrote in your statement to the police that you had to go get your kid off the bus was not true.
That was true.
In fact, you wrote that on 3/9/24, March 9th, 24, right?
I believe that was the date.
So like 10 or so days after this happened, right?
Yes.
So you still wrote, even though you knew the real scenario that you had someone else get the kids off the bus, you still lied about it in the report 10 days later, didn't you?
Objection.
We'll go on to another subject.
Sure. Let me play the call. 307.
I'm going to Dr. Concan and find a court. Hi, yes. I was just at the Superior Courthouse for the Kearney hearing, and I had to meet an officer out back in the parking lot, the big parking lot behind the registry of deeds afterwards, because somebody keyed my car and smashed my tail light while I was inside the courthouse. But he was Officer Kozak that I spoke with. He took a report, but also I have a.
But also, so you wanted to add something that hadn't been reported, right?
No, I was explaining the situation to the dispatcher as to why I was calling.
And you wanted to talk about what you said to Kozak, right? Kozak, right?
I was explaining to her so she would know that I had already spoken to an officer.
Let's press play.
I had a restraining order against the blogger that was covering the case, but he was in the courtroom. They made him leave the courtroom when I got in there, but then after
They made him leave the courtroom, which is another lie. Nobody had him leave. He saw her and he fucked off. Nobody told him to leave. He saw her, probably immediately identifying, oh fuck, I'm being set up here. And off he fucked.
he was waiting outside on the steps. I mean, afterwards, I had my restraining order says he's not allowed to be within 100 yards, and he was outside yelling stuff about me within the 100 yards as I came out from the courthouse. So I'm just trying to see.
He was yelling stuff at me. Another lie.
How I report the violation when I'm supposed to do it. I have to.
So you're trying to see how you report this violation.
Correct.
That's different than as if you reported it and you're following up, is it?
I don't.
Objection sustained. Counsel can argue whichever way you want to characterize it.
So that's not following up, is it?
Objection.
Sustained.
You're trying to ask how to report it, right?
I wasn't sure what Officer Kozak was going to do because he only mentioned the follow-up in regards to the vandalism. He didn't give me an answer about what was going to happen with reporting of the violation. So
You claim that you had just walked by Mr. Carney violating your restraining order 5 minutes prior, right? And yet it's your testimony that you're more worried about a scratch to your car than using the ammo you just developed that you could get him locked up.
was I more worried about a scratch to my car? No. And it wasn't just a scratch. It was almost $1,000 in damage. I had just paid $2,000 to fix my car, just got it back a week or two prior before that. So I was very upset to come out and see that my car had been vandalized.
So you know how to get someone in trouble when they violate a restraining order, don't you?
Objection.
Overruled.
You know what to do.
How to get somebody in trouble?
Yeah.
I know how to report, to call the police. I know how to call the police.
And you know that if you insist that someone is violating the order, they are obligated to go arrest that person. Isn't that right?
Objection.
Objection overruled. If the witness knows.
I don't know the obligations of the police.
You don't know that if you're in the presence of someone, you have a restraining order, and you tell a policeman on the scene, I have a restraining order, and he's violating it, that they don't have to arrest him?
Well, clearly not, because Mr. Carney was not arrested.
So you knew that you could have caused him to be arrested on that very occasion, isn't that right?
I know if somebody breaks the law, then they can be arrested.
And you claim that you saw Mr. Carney breaking the law, right?
Yes, I guess a violation of a restraining order would be breaking the law.
And this isn't the first time that you've gone to someone and then tried to get them arrested for violating an order that you triggered a violation of, is it?
Objection.
Objection sustained. Violation hasn't been found on that.
Sure. Who's Frank Keating?
Father of my 3 youngest children.
On the restraining order, do 4 of your kids have his last name?
Objection.
Sustained.
So he's the father of 3 of your children?
Yes.
And you had a
So he's only the father of 3 of her children, but 4 of them has his last name? Oh, you whore.
restraining order on him, didn't you?
Yes.
And when was that time period?
I don't know.
How about what year?
Like, I don't know when I first got it.
You can't even say what year it was?
I don't know.
It was
She
before
knows
you got
it's-
involved with Mr. Carney, right?
Correct.
So was it before 2023?
It was. I don't know.
How about on July 27, 2023? Was it in place then?
That may have been when I got it. I believe. I'm not sure.
And sometime after that, you located him in a store parking lot. You went into his car, you sat down, and you called the police on him, didn't you?
Nope.
Judge, I'd like to play.
Privacy counsel.
I heard about that situation. I heard about it. Oh, please. Please, Amos. Please, I want to see it. I want to see it. I only heard about it. And sidebar counter 2. Yeah, so what I've heard, I haven't seen it. I haven't actually gone out of my way to find that video. Is that she had a restraining order out on her ex, found him, sat in his car, called the cops and claimed that he violated the restraining order she put on him. Holy fuck. Folks, a general advice here. A very general advice here. Don't stick your dick in crazy. Do not. It's fun. I know. I've been there. Most guys have been there. Don't. It's not worth it. And if you have to, wear protection. Do not have kids with crazy.
The night, Judge. I don't know yet. I mean, I think so. I planned on it.
How long is it going to be?
It's like 2 minutes.
All right, court's going to listen to it in chambers as part of the evidence, and then we'll go from there. It's going to get into.
And you just have to hit play on time first. Just tap.
Yeah. So now, prior bad acts usually aren't permitted in trials unless it's deemed a modus operandi, an MO. This is a person who has a history of and repeatedly gets restraining orders and then go to the place of that person where that person is and then claim violation. So there is a way around the prior bad acts thing if you can show a modus operandi.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. What's in the brief recess? Maybe thank you.
Oh, let's see what it says here. Sorry, I have to remove that. Judge Pomeroy watches the July 27, 2023 video of Lindsay Kearney sitting in Frank Keegan's car after she tracked him down, refused to leave, and had him arrested for violating an RO she had on him. Yeah, because they are obligated to do the arrest. If it sticks or not, that's a later question. I said I'm only going to do this 2 hours, but I need to get through this cross-examination at least. The video is not played in open court, but he allows it into evidence. Oh, and he's going to show it. Thank you, editor of Aidan's video. So it wasn't played in open court because it may be embarrassing, but it's still in evidence, which means that the judge, as the fact finder, can look at it and see and bear judgment based on it. Oh, all right.
All right, I gotta go. Come on, get out of my car, please. Lindsay, can you get out of my car? Lindsay, get out of my car. The kids are sitting in there. It's probably sweating, so get out of my car, please.
And sirens.
Come on, I gotta go get an oil change. I'm gonna say bye to the kids. What's that? And you didn't do that for my car. No, you didn't. Why did you say you did that for my car and you didn't?
What for your car?
You said you called it in. You did that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I fucking did. And you're welcome, by the way. I fucking go and help you out.
said thank you.
And then you fuck me over behind my
How'd I
back.
fuck you over?
You're a
They're
fucking
taking
snake.
65%.
No, they're not. They're allowed to take 65%.
They're right.
Before taxes, it has not been anywhere near 65%. You're going to be proven wrong when they do the math in court. Because every fucking pay set, they're going to go back and look. And it hasn't been anywhere near.
Lindsay,
You're
here
so
comes the
dumb.
police.
You're so dumb.
Here comes the police, Lindsay.
Lindsay,
Here comes the
No
police.
fucking education.
Lindsay, here comes the
Doesn't even know
police.
anything.
Here comes the police, you asshole. Get out of my car. Come on. Lindsay, get out of my car. Nice going, Lindsay.
You better stop, Frankie, because I'll tell them.
Get out of my car.
You better stop. You better stop.
Thank you.
You better stop.
Thank you. Nothing.
You can talk to that officer.
Nothing. I just talked to them and she might come over with my...
Quiet, please.
Yeah, she's nuts. She's batshit crazy. Absolute. Jesus Christ.
Second row. That will be exhibit 35.
And for the record, I move to strike. I move to strike.
So, Ms. Catani, the circumstances of that video, you've seen that video, right?
I have. Your client posted it all over the internet.
So that's a yes?
Yes.
He posted it.
Mr. Keegan was trying to get his oil changed, and he was driving down Main Street in Walpole, and he pulls into the CVS parking lot in Walpole, and then you pulled up next to his car, and you got in his vehicle, right?
No, that's completely wrong.
Well, can we agree that you got in his vehicle?
All right, this is from the report. Let's read that. Again, thank you to the Turtleboy editor, saying, it did not appear to this officer that the victim was forced into this encounter, but actively engaged and played a role in this encounter. But he was still arrested. Yeah, poor guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And can we agree that you called the police?
No, I never called the police.
Someone else called the police?
I didn't call the police. I don't know who did.
And just sort of alluding to prior questions that I asked you, you had a restraining order on him, right?
Yes.
And that means that you went to a court and said, I'm afraid of this guy, keep him away from me.
Objection.
Objection sustained. You represented to a court that you were in fear of imminent bodily harm, correct?
It's established it was a restraining order. The court understands the standard. What's the next question?
And you asked specifically to keep him away from you, right?
Objection.
Yes.
And you got an order that said, probably similar to this one, that he needed to stay probably 100 yards from you, right?
Yes.
And yet, when you saw him, you went to him and you got in his car a couple of feet away from him, right?
No, that's not at all what happened. I was at CVS first in the drive-through line at the pharmacy getting medication for my children. He followed me there.
Your children, you're taking care of your children, right?
Yes.
And it's just a chance encounter?
No, he had been calling me all day, found out from his cousin where I was, and pulled into the parking lot next to me while I was in the drive-through line at the pharmacy. As my window was down, the passenger window, yelling at me to pull over, come over and park next to him. He wanted to talk to me, and I went and pulled over next to him. I didn't get out of my car at that point. I stayed in the driver's seat. My window was down. He came over, asked me over and over for me to get out of my car to talk to him.
Liar!
Isn't it true that he asked you over and over to get out of his car so that he could go get his oil change?
After he had started screaming, threatening me, tried to drive away with my leg out the door. Yeah, when he started recording after all of that.
He tried to drive away with your leg out the door?
He went forward about 2 feet, pretending to try to scare me.
Isn't it true that the video shows him not even in the car?
Mr. Brito, the video speaks for itself. Thank you. Do you have anything further on this, or are you going to move on?
No, Judge, don't move on. Thank you.
Oh, this is
so
magically
the registry of the parking lot. Who did
insane.
you talk to arrange for you to meet that group in the parking lot?
Who did I talk to arrange to meet the group?
You don't need to repeat my words. If you want to take a minute, think about them, and then answer, that'd be fine.
It was Kate Peter who told me that I was invited, but to arrange to meet the group, I don't recall.
Did you speak with Jennifer McCabe about going to that spot?
Like I said earlier, I called her when I got to the parking lot, but I don't remember if I spoke to her prior to that about, I just don't remember.
Kate Peter told you that Paul O'Keefe wanted you to be there, right?
Correct.
And then you responded to her, word to the effect, through a text. Paul O'Keefe wants to talk to me, right?
No, you're conflating two completely different conversations at two completely different times.
Sure.
Oh,
So
that you
Paul
remember.
O'Keefe is the brother of the deceased in the Kearney case, right, John?
Correct.
And you were sitting right behind him in the 226 hearing, weren't you?
I don't recall where he was seated.
And you walked in with the O'Keefe family, didn't you?
Yes.
And you walked in with Jennifer McCabe, didn't you?
Yes.
I'll show you a couple of photographs. May I approach the witness room?
He said, "Won't you show me earlier?" That's fine.
Let me show you these two photographs. Start with the first one here. Who's in that photograph?
It looks like I'm in this photograph. I can just make out my purse. I can't tell who the other people are.
The woman to your left is Jennifer McCabe, isn't it?
Can you point to which person? I can't tell.
Can't tell, okay. But that's you in the middle with the purse chain on your shoulder?
Yes.
And that's you going into the courtroom on 226, isn't it?
Can I look one more time? Yes.
Off of this picture you're on?
Exhibit 35.
And the next picture is kind of a wider angle shot of the courtroom that day, isn't it?
Yes.
And you're in the second row on the left side, correct?
Correct.
And Paul O'Keefe is the gentleman in the row ahead of you on the end, right? And
Correct.
he's got a light colored sweater on?
Yes.
And this is a fair and accurate picture of where everybody was that day?
Yes.
At that moment in time?
Yes.
All right. And then further, with respect to this picture, it shows Mr. Carney and Ms. O'Neill walking out, right?
Yes.
Get off of this judge's next.
Exhibit 36.
And you said that it was a couple of minutes between when you walked in the courtroom and when Ms. O'Neill and Mr. Carney left, right?
I believe so.
Does 19 seconds sound about a little more accurate?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't counting.
And isn't it true that no one had to tell Mr. Carney to leave the courtroom, right?
I saw a court officer walk up to them, so that's all I know.
And your testimony is that he looked back at you coming into the room and mouthed the F word when he saw you? Is that
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm sure I'd like to play a video at this particular moment.
Yeah, let's watch the video. Let's watch the video.
And if we could just go up to 445, please. Get a little warm up period here, I think.
On the record of follow up with Cameron Green on docket 22 CR 117. Given the prosecution be invited to introduce himself.
Good afternoon, Mr. Buckland. Good afternoon. afternoon, Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little.
Did you see Mr. Carney stand up there?
Yes.
Mr. Carney stood up, looked towards the window, and then turned around and went to leave, right?
I guess I only see up to right now, so I would assume he left right after this shot.
On behalf of the jury.
Good afternoon, Ms. Little. Good afternoon, Mr. Unetti. Good afternoon, Ms. Reed. Oh, all right, so here comes Mr. Riley. Are you expecting him, Mr. Buckman? All right, I'm sorry, I would notice that.
Thank you. And then by then you had already entered and sat where the picture's shown, right?
Yes.
And nobody walked up to Aidan to throw him out of the court.
So Mr. Carney left, Ms. O'Neill, and you stayed in there to watch the hearing, right?
Right.
And what was your purpose in going there?
To see the hearing because I was invited by the family.
And who's the family? Who invited you? How did that transpire?
I was told by Kate Peter that Paul O'Keefe and Peggy O'Keefe wanted me to attend the hearing because they wanted to show their support and solidarity for me.
And it had nothing to do with the fact that you had a restraining order and you could cause the eviction of Mr. Carney.
I was told nothing about that. I was told that they wanted to support me.
And are they still supporting you now that you don't have a restraining order, or is that still in place?
I don't know what you mean by still supporting me.
Well, you haven't been to any hearings, have you?
No, I've been to protests since then.
You haven't been to any court hearings, have you?
Not inside because they don't let the public in.
So that was just the one hearing that you wanted to attend, and you had Mr. Carney had just gotten out of jail, and you had a restraining order at the time, right?
Actually, no, there was another one after that I did attend. I think it was March 20th. But then once the trial started, they didn't allow the public to go in because of the small courtroom.
And did you bring a restraining order with you on March 20th?
I bring it everywhere with me.
So getting back to 226, you had your restraining order in your hand with you when you walked into the building, right?
No, actually, I had my hands in my pockets, as you can see by the pictures.
And it's your testimony that you didn't have it in your hand when you walked into the courtroom?
When I walked into the courtroom, yes, I was.
So let's start. Sorry, I was confused. So when you walked into the courthouse, you had it and you showed it to a court officer, didn't you?
When I went through security, I was asked to take it out to show. Yeah, it was in my purse.
Why would a court officer, when you're walking in, why would they ask of you to bring the restraining order? Why? And who the fuck is that witness protection person that you had with you? Who the fuck is that?
So who asked you to do that?
One of the court officers.
Can you describe that?
I don't remember.
When did you first learn that Mr. Carney was in the court?
I don't know. I think when we were in the hallway after we were brought from the room to go enter the courtroom, when we were standing near the glass panes or glass panels, and I actually saw him with my own eyes.
And you were there for the sole purpose of evicting Mr. Carney at the behest of the O'Keefes and the Alberts and the McCabe's, weren't you?
No, I was not.
It was just a coincidence that Mr. Carney had just gotten out of jail. This was the first hearing he was going to attend as a journalist. And that's when you get invited by the family, right?
I had only just begun talking to the witnesses because he went to jail and I was getting harassed just like they were. That's how we started talking.
It was just a coincidence.
No, I don't believe that was a coincidence at all. That's how we met. That's how we became close and became friends.
You let them use you to evict Mr. Carney from the courtroom, and you were all too happy to do it, weren't you?
No, not at all.
So Mr. Carney leaves with Ms. O'Neill, and the hearing's over in like 10 minutes, right?
I don't remember how long it lasted, but it was short.
It was a lot quicker and a lot shorter than you anticipated, wasn't it?
I don't know how long I anticipated it would be, but it was short.
And you had this situation in place that you referred to about the babysitter, right?
I had somebody to get my kids off the bus,
You
yes.
said in your statement that you had to get back for 3:10 to get your child off the bus, right?
I wrote that because my phone had died and I needed to make sure I could get my children off the bus if they weren't.
You really couldn't stay to watch the actual hearing.
I didn't know my phone was going to die.
Nothing's ever your fault, is it? It's just a coincidence that your phone died, just happened to die.
Objection to that, please.
Withdraw. So you had this babysitter situation before you got there, and that's an indicator that you had to get out of there. Once you evicted Mr. Carney, you were going to have to get out of there and go pick up your child at 3:10, weren't you?
Objection sustained.
So your son was getting off the bus at 3:10, right?
Yes,
And you lived in Medfield at the time?
yes,
And that's about a half-hour ride from the Norfolk Superior Court, isn't it?
25 minutes.
25 minutes, sorry, we'll go with 25. So you really didn't have much time to watch a hearing, did you?
I just said I intended to stay for as long as the hearing took, but I didn't know my phone was going to die.
And so it's your testimony that because your phone, everything was okay until your phone died?
I can't check on my children if I don't have a phone to call them.
And you didn't want to rely on the babysitter, right?
I was relying on the babysitter, but like I said, she hadn't met my kids before, so I wanted to make sure that they recognized her, she recognized them, they got into the house okay, there were no issues. I don't think it's that hard to comprehend.
So it was a helpful coincidence for you that the day ended at 2:10 or 2:15, right?
Sure, I guess it was helpful, yeah.
And then you go to leave the courthouse, right?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to show a picture of the departure from the courthouse.
Take no objection.
No.
This is...
Mr. Tony, that's a picture of what the front of the courthouse looked like when you were leaving, right?
Facing the registry of deeds, yes.
That's what someone walking out would look at when the hearing was over and everyone was leaving, correct?
I don't know when that was taken, but that would be the view if you were leaving the courthouse, yes.
Well, it was a busy scene full of many, many people, wasn't it?
Yes.
So is that what it looked like or not?
Similar to that, I don't know what time it was taken, but pretty similar. To me, I thought there was more people, but that could be.
Well, is there a fair and accurate representation of what the outside of the building looked like or not?
Sure.
I'd offer that to Ms. Kearney from
No objection.
37.
37. You mentioned earlier that on March 20th you attended a hearing?
I think it was March 20th.
And isn't it true that's one of the hearings that Mr. Carney publicly stated that he was going to attend?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to what he does. I don't get alerts to his location. I don't know.
You don't know. So you left with a group of people, correct?
On March 20th?
On 2/26.
Yes.
And who were those people?
Let me just check here how much longer she is going to be on the stand. Ah, not much longer. Okay. So we're going to finish her off. Bad joke, sorry. And then we will watch the rest of it on Friday on my slightly buzzed Friday Law Show. So we will finish this off. Tomorrow, I'm going to continue my coverage of the Michigan hyperbaric chamber case. It was a hyperbaric chamber. A 5-year-old kid was in there, 100% oxygen with pressure, and it was poorly maintained. A spark and everything ignited, burning that poor kid more or less from the inside out. 4 people are charged with second-degree murder. The CEO of the company, plus the maintenance guys, who actively, according to the prosecution, did stuff to that hyperbaric chamber, which may or may not have caused it to malfunction and more or less explode. So that is for tomorrow. But Friday, I want to watch the rest of this trial and have a beer. So let's finish this off.
You want me to list them all? Let me see. John McCabe, Chris Albert, Matt McCabe, Jen McCabe's sisters, Megan Malone, Colin McCabe, sorry.
That's another thing of the things I really... Why were they, as witnesses in the trial, in a hearing of that trial, finding out stuff? Why were they allowed into that hearing as witnesses against Karen Reed? Well, we know that Judge Bev allows it, but still. Oh, hello over at Rumble. Slidey Pie asked, who is this woman? This is the victim, she claims. this is the victim of. She put a restraining order on Aidan Kearney, and she claims that he violated it by her going to where he was.
I can't remember them all.
How about Paul?
Don't believe he was in the group that left with us.
You left down the stairs and you went down the handicap ramp to the right, correct?
Correct.
You got down to the bottom of the handicap ramp, and then you started walking towards Dedham Center, right?
Correct.
And you say that you saw Mr. Carney cross the street at the register, right?
When I was crossing the crosswalk, is that what you're asking?
I'm not asking that. I'm saying that Mr. Carney was, you say he was across the street at the registry.
When I first walked out, I first saw him standing on the steps of the registry, yes.
And so it's fair to say that you were walking away from him, weren't you?
No, I was walking down the sidewalk to get to the crossing walk, and he was walking perpendicular following us.
Mr. Carney.
Except he didn't. He was more or less stationary at those steps for the entire time.
Carney was in front of the registry, and you were walking towards Dedham Center when you first made your way off the handicap ramp, aren't you?
Yes, to cross the crossing walk.
So the laws of physics tell us that you're walking away from him, aren't you?
Well, not when he's walking with us, following us.
I'm asking you again. You're walking towards town. He's up at the registry of deeds.
If he had stayed put, I would be walking away, but he wasn't.
Next question. Then you make a left, and you're walking towards the back of the registry of deeds parking lot, correct?
Yes.
And you're still walking away from him, aren't you?
Still trying to, as he's still moving and following.
Is anyone stopping you?
Nobody's stopping me from moving, but he's still walking, following us.
And you saw this, right?
I saw him at different locations throughout. I didn't see him actually walking because I wasn't staring at him when I was walking. I was trying to just look ahead.
Mr. Carney was in front of the registry building, and you were walking away from him to the back of the building to the cars, right?
Trying to, yes.
Trying to, okay. And you were increasing the distance between you and Mr. Carney as you walked away, weren't you?
Again, trying to, yes.
And you kept walking and walking and walking until you made it to your cars, right?
Yes.
So it's fair to say that you were walking away from where he was, and you were increasing the distance between you and Mr. Carney every step, right?
No, not every step. Not till I got to the end of the wall and he no longer followed us. Then I was able to increase the distance.
Your friend, the sister, Miss Bingo Wings 2012, videoed. He wasn't following you. He wasn't walking that direction at all.
Between us.
So Mr. Carney remained, to your knowledge, in the front of the registry building, right?
No, I literally just said the opposite.
Your testimony is that Mr. Carney followed you to the back of the parking lot?
No, I said he stopped at the wall. If the wall was on my left at the registry of deeds, he stopped at that wall.
He did not follow you to the back parking lot, did he?
No, not to the back, no.
And every step you were taking was taking you further away from him, right?
Once I got past the wall, correct.
Now, can we, Judge, have a video of the departure from the courthouse? That's you with the white purse, right?
Yes, it is.
And there's quite a few people that have dark hair, dark coats, dark sunglasses, right?
Yes.
So you're walking towards Dedham Center there, right?
Yes.
You're walking down the crosswalk and you're walking away from the registry of deeds, right?
Yes.
Judge it off of that as the next video.
38.
No objection. 38. Now, no one in that video yelled liar, liar, right?
Not at that point.
You didn't react to Mr. Carney. You weren't pointing and saying, there's Carney, go arrest him. Help, there's the guy that we're restraining order against. Nothing like that in this video, right?
No.
Play the next video, please. We continue on, Judge, with this scenario. Now, that's a video from across the street looking at the Norfolk Superior Court, right?
Yes.
that's everyone still walking across the crosswalk and towards Denver Center, right?
Yes.
That is an incident.
39.
No objection.
And in that video, no one's yelling liar, liar, right?
Not at that point, but I don't know who took that video, and
I didn't ask you who took it. I said there's no one in the video yelling liar, liar, right?
not in that person's video.
So that's, you're correct, Mr. Bradle, there's no one doing that?
No, not in that video.
Now, you have some video from the gentleman of you going into the Denver Superior Court, correct?
Do I have?
Video of you going into the Denver Superior Court?
I've seen of it, yes.
So now I'm going to show the same group.
Is this going in, Mr. President?
That's you kind of starting on the right of your purse, right?
Yes.
We're in a big hurry there. Why are you in such a hurry?
The men told us to get in between them so they could surround us and protect us just in case Mr. Carney did show up.
Who told you that?
I don't recall.
And is that Paul O'Keefe, Scully Cap, and the light sweater?
Yes.
So you're walking in with Paul O'Keefe, right?
Yes.
And Paul O'Keefe invited you in, right?
That's what I was told.
You left with Jennifer and Kate, correct?
Correct.
Say something stupid. Do it. Do it. Do it. Say something stupid. Do it. Say something stupid. Say something stupid. Do it.
Who's that?
Who's who?
The person yelling, say something stupid.
I don't know.
You don't know. Keep going.
Yeah, that person shouting is this fucktwat, Grant Ellis, the son of an even. If you think this woman is nuts, his mother, Wendy, somehow managed to get through law school, get a law degree, get through the bar, and then a tenured professor somewhere, and she is certifiably, by all accounts, in my opinion, completely unhinged insane. And apparently, it runs in the family.
I don't know.
You don't know. Keep going.
And imagine just a few months earlier, she, Lindsay here, would have been in that crowd shouting "Free Karen Reed."
That's your friend Grant Smith Ellis, isn't it? You know to the crowd?
I can't see his face.
You don't know his voice?
I don't feel comfortable identifying somebody saying something if I can't see their face.
You're such a fucking
So-
lawyer.
He actually sent out a tweet about walking in with you, didn't
I don't know.
Objection.
he? He came with you, he filmed that whole thing, and you went into the courthouse with him, didn't you?
If a
I can't read that, first of all, but also I just met him that day in the parking lot, so he wasn't my friend at that point, but I can't read that message.
He was in the parking lot with the McCabe's, the Alberts, and the O'Keefes. That maniac was in the parking lot with the McCabe's, the Alberts, and O'Keefes. How about that?
How did you come to know that you were going to meet these people in the parking lot?
Because that was the plan for everybody to meet and walk in as a group.
How were you apprised of the plan?
Through Kate Peter, through, I don't know, probably, I don't know who else I talked to.
What did Kate Peter tell you about this plan?
Just that Jen was,
This will be the last time you're allowed to ask it.
I'm just trying to get a satisfactory answer.
It's the last time.
What did Kate Peter tell you about the plan?
just that Jen was going to meet me in the back of the parking lot. And then she gave me her number so I believe I could call her directly myself.
And then you did that thing.
Yes.
So you coordinated with Jennifer McCabe to meet in that back parking lot.
Well, I just called her once I parked.
And what happened? Was she there or what?
She said she was a couple minutes away.
And you said that during these walks in and out of the courthouse that you had tunnel vision, right?
When I was walking in, it was pretty jarring because I had not walked through a crowd like that.
Well, you said
screaming
the crowd
before.
was more raucous when you went out, didn't you?
Right.
And you had tunnel vision when you went out. That's right.
No, when I went in, because it was the first time I had walked through that.
So you said you saw Mr. Carney right when you came out of the courthouse, right?
Yes.
You didn't tell the court officer.
There was no court officer walking out with us.
You didn't go find a court officer.
No, I didn't.
You didn't tell the denim cop.
Not at that time.
You didn't tell the state trooper.
Not at that time.
You didn't tell anybody.
I wasn't going to walk through a crowd of hundreds of people that were screaming, calling me a whore and all kinds of names. I mean, it was chaotic. It was, you can see by this.
Nobody called you a whore at that time. I just did when I found out that you have a person who is the father of 3 of your children, but 4 of your kids have his last name. How does that happen, you cheating whore?
It was chaotic.
You could have had Mr. Carney arrested right then and there when you say you saw him. And you know that, right?
That was not my goal. I was trying to get.
If you really saw him, you would have had him arrested in about a half a second, wouldn't you?
Objection sustained. Move on from that, Mr. Bradel. Sure. Fact-based questions.
And we saw from those videos that that was pretty much a sea of women with dark hair, dark glasses, and dark coats, right?
Except for me and my bright white purse.
Who the fuck knew who had which purse? Jesus Christ.
Wait, check one more, please, right? So isn't it true, Ms. Vitani, that in all of this video, there's been no expression of anyone saying liar?
Objection.
Sustained.
Nothing further.
Anything on the direct examination?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Excuse.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And isn't that strange? That is the victim who has just suffered through a very rough cross-examination. And the prosecution says, no, we will not try to rehabilitate. That is very telling. Because the prosecution has nothing to rehabilitate her with. Nothing. All right, folks. That was part 2 of this coverage of the Turtleboy win from June. If you want the entire thing without me yapping, it's on Dr. Turtleboy's YouTube page. I hope you will stick around, and I hope I will see you back here tomorrow for the Michigan hyperbaric explosion case. Dave, good that you're here. Dave, do you have time tomorrow? Because Dave, MLS, is a Michigan-based attorney. So it's good to have him here when I cover that case, so we can get some inside information about what's actually going on. And then on Friday, we will play the rest of this. And we have about 2 hours, which will take me about 4 hours to get through. And bring a drink of your choice. And on Fridays, I also have the Wheel of Regrets. You might say, what, Nick? What's the Wheel of Regrets? This is the Wheel of Regrets, where for your entertainment, you pay me to spin that wheel with hot sauces and shots of booze, making everything more interesting. Tomorrow is Valhalla's birthday. Dave, every day is Valhalla's birthday. So, I will see you tomorrow around the same time as today for the hyperbaric chamber case. And Friday, also roughly the same time. Because after my Friday stream, I am going to compete in Lego build. Yeah, I'm going to compete in Lego build. It is Sweden versus Great Britain. Sweden versus Great Britain. And yeah, so that will be interesting. It's a rematch also. It's a rematch. But I have to give that lovely lady some handicap by being absolutely blitzed. And she's going to be so pissed at me. She's going to be so pissed at me. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, so see you tomorrow, roughly the same time as today. Friday, roughly the same time as today, with a continuous getting me blitzed while watching this, the finale of the Turtleboy win trial, and then watching me win in Lego build. All right. Oh, thank you, Stringable. Thank you so much for your $10 super chat. In case I can't make it, I will count that towards the Wheel of Regrets. If I remember it. All right, folks. That is all I had for you. I will play the Free Turtleboy song as an outro, and then I will send you off to something interesting. All right. Thank you for being here, and remember, folks, hug your family. Unless your family's shit, then fuck them and give your love to people who deserve it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Dr. Turtleboy walks the line, truth in his hands. Fingers point at shadows, he's breaking their plans. Corrupt suits in the courthouse playing their game. But the lies they sling won't tarnish his name. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. Bogus charges flying, but they can't stick. He's cutting through the darkness, sharp and quick. The gavel pounds, but his voice won't break. No matter how much they take and fake, they try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. His ground in the face of their lies. His courage resounds. For every false word there's a light he ignites. A warrior for truth under courthouse lights. He's been bruised, but he won't lose knocking down the gates of corruption's door. Dr. Turtleboy still chasing the sun. The fight's far from over, but he's never done.